Welcome back to another episode of CATV Tech Talk. I'm your host, Drew, here with the co-host, Jesse. How's it going, Jesse?
What's up, man?
Another day.
Dude, I feel you, man. How's your week been?
Busy. How about you?
Same old shit, dude. Carpooling the kids, working, football games, same old.
All right. Doing damage on the job.
Yeah, man.
How much shit have you set on fire? Let's just get that
I don't think I've burned anything. I don't think. I got to think on that. If I think of something between now and the time we're done, I'll tell you. But I don't think I have.
So wait, before we go even any farther into this, are you one of those guys? Because I know I've had a couple of those moments where you've done something or you drilled it and you kind of went, oh shit, did I hit something? You never really know, but you kind of think you maybe smell something, but then it kind of goes away, but then you smell it again later on. You're like, fuck, is this lady's house going to burn down in about 2 hours?
I never did that. I have drilled where like I busted brick. I've done that before.
Well, I do that all the time.
I've drilled holes like in floors and shit and like fucked the carpet up all the way to the wall where it like spun the carpet out.
Do you know what the fix for that is too?
You tell me what you got.
You take a razor knife and you cut a.
But there's no fix after you fucking do it, man.
Well, no. Once you fucking pull off the thread, unless you're like a carpetier. I don't know what the hell they call people who make carpets, but.
No, I learned that really fast because I got a write up for that, man. Like I think it was like the third month I was in the field. I drilled down and it fucking spun out in this lady's house and it was brand new carpet. It had been laid like a few weeks before and it went from like one wall to the other wall and I was like, oh fuck.
You remember those little see, we never really used them because we used RTV sealant more than anything. But those little black circles you could end up running the cable through and it would go right into the side of the house. So it was like little
feed throughs, yeah.
That's what I'm assuming that's what they call them. They looked like little they looked like a little dumbbell missing one side of it.
Yeah, a little feed through.
Feed through. See, I've never heard that term for it, but
that's what I always called them. I don't know what the I don't know what the fucking real term probably is for it, but that's what I called them.
I don't know. It was always called the fucking thing you put in the freaking hole with the other hole in it. That was my technical term for it.
That sounds like the start of a really good porno.
Hole on hole.
Shit, I'd watch it.
But yeah, anyway, speaking of, so what he would do is he would actually put one of those after he drill a hole through the carpet. He'd put one of those through it.
I did that too. The biggest problem.
I've never ever seen that.
Yeah, I did that a lot.
The first time I've ever seen that.
But I would beat it down in the hole in like the hardwood because under most carpets hardwood. So like I would take it and I would take like my tin snips or something and I'd like beat it down into that hole where it was flush. Yeah, that's what I would do.
See, I feel like that's a sin. Cover up hardwoods with carpet.
Yeah, but that's most of the houses you're going to drill a hole in the floor. That's what they've done.
I don't know. Personally, if I'm drilling anything, I'm a guy not to have carpet. Dead joke.
I don't need carpet. I just need like the rug outside the door,
Yeah, the little runner. You just need the runner.
Yeah, just a little bit.
God. All right. So damage on the job, different types of damage. We have property damage, van damage, tool damage, and even the damage the customers caused for us.
Property damage, man. I've done. My boss was like real big on writing people up. I think he got off on it, to be honest with you, when I was a tech.
Maybe that was his thing.
I think it was. He's like, yeah, you have to take a drug test, and here's a write up. Well, what happened? Well, you cut your fucking finger, so you cost the company money, so we got to write you up. How the fuck did I call?
Wow. Yeah. So property damage, Jesse. What have you fucked up?
Well, I mentioned the carpet and like the brick, where you drill, and I fucked up one time and drilled like on the outside and inside out, and a big chunk of the fucking block like fell on the ground. So my dumb ass put like silicone in it and like pushed it back in.
Hey, that works. I do that.
It did. Nobody ever fucking said a word. So, but no, I guess like one of the worst ones I ever experienced. I was pretty new. I want to say I was like maybe a year in or something, and I went to this job and it was like a single level house, had an attic, and I went, I think I've said this before. Like if I was at a trouble call, like I would pull the modem and then I would look on the side of the house as I'm walking to the door. And I did, and all it was there, the drop come down, hit a ground block, and then it went. I was assuming in the attic, so I went to the door and I knocked, and the modem's like pushing back like a 59. It was all in the red and shit. And I said, "Ma'am, I'm gonna have to get in your attic. Is that where all your cable goes?" She goes, "Oh yeah, they go up there a lot." I was like, "Oh great, they go up there a lot." Well, I went up there and I didn't know this at the time, so I'll tell you up front why this happened. There was a water line in the attic that was busted, and nobody. It was up under a bunch of insulation. Well, when water gets on wood, it rots wood, right? That's what it does. So I was walking on the beams. They had a light there, and I pulled the light, and it was on the. I was walking on the beams, and I could see that big mess of fucking splitters and shit, like I don't know, 5 or 10 feet in front of me. And I was walking on the beams, and it was tall enough I could walk in there. Right? It was like you could walk in the attic, but it was how it was set up was there was no floor. It was just the beams, and then like the sheetrock was like attached to those beams for like the ceiling and the downstairs. I was walking down the beams, and all of a sudden my foot went right through the stud, and kaboom! And I caught myself between a beam and the beam, two beams over. I don't know how I did that, but I barely caught myself. And there I am. This woman's in her kitchen, and my ass and my legs and everything up to about my titties were hanging in her kitchen, right through her ceiling. And there's the good thing was if I'd have kept dropping, there was a wine rack under there, and had I went all the way through, it'd have hit me in the back, and I'd probably be like Christopher Reeves in a wheelchair right now. It would have stuck me right in my back.
Oh,
So that I'm glad I caught myself instead of just going with it.
yeah, that's
But
fair.
yeah, but it was bad, dude, and that was another one of those. I had to go take a drug test and all that shit. And it turns out, like Comcast didn't even have to pay for it because the woman's husband was a contractor, and he actually knew there was a water leak in the attic, but he didn't tell anybody. And when they talked to him about it, he said, "Oh man, I got it. Don't worry about it." And guess what? I still got a fucking write up.
And do you know what? Do you know what really aggravates me out of that entire thing? Right out of the gate, you told me that she said, "Well, that's where everybody goes." You're not a big kid, so you got to tell me all these other fucking cable guys. Not one of those motherfuckers went in that attic because they would have fell through.
You would have thought, yeah, like, and I don't know if this was like in her mind, like over all the time somebody's been there. Yeah, I don't know, like. But yeah, she said it was up there, and it was a fucking rat's nest, a bunch of cable and a big ball, like over about 5 or 10 feet into the attic.
Jesus.
Looking back on it, if I'd have known there was a water leak, I would have stayed way over on the far left side of the attic and kind of walked my way on the outside beam, like on where the V comes down in the roof. But it just, who knows that, right?
Well,
I didn't know that.
I have a good CATV Tech Talk tip. Don't go in an attic if there's a leaking pipe. Period. don't try to just start the outside. Because just don't.
Yeah,
don't
because
go up there.
Well, I would have. You could have got to it and got around the rotted wood. That's what I'm getting at.
Well, yeah, but
I didn't know. I didn't know anything was rotted. And then after I already fell through and I climbed back up, pulled myself up, and then went right back down. I'm like, oh fuck, man, I'm sorry. She took me into the bathroom, and where it was leaking was above the bathroom, and there was a great big fucking ring, like around the bathroom ceiling where water had been leaking through the sheetrock for like God knows how long. Jesus. And I'm like, well, that would have been nice to know before I went up there.
Yeah, no shit. That's terrible. No, actually, the only real property damage I actually ever did had to do with water too. I was at a customer's house. I want to say it was in November, or no, maybe October. It doesn't really matter, but it's right when it was starting getting cold out. And I was putting an AO in the guy's living room. He actually already had a hole going through the floor for the cable box. So I didn't want to put a two-way splitter there because the garage was right below the living room. So I'm like, screw it. I'll just put a hole literally 1 inch over next to the existing hole. So I went downstairs in the basement, looked up at the ceiling, and realized it was a finished ceiling. And you could see the cable line coming out, and it went right through the garage ceiling, and it was just tacked around going over to the panel where the splitters were. I was like, all right, well, not a big deal. Dude, I pick 1 inch over from this thing. I drill through the hardwood floor, and I thought I hit what was the subfloor, but it actually ended up being a forced hot water pipe. For some reason, this pipe was just in the worst possible spot. I like to think of myself as a relatively handy guy. I usually know the layouts of houses pretty well, and I tell you there shouldn't have been a pipe right there. As soon as I hit the thing, it started hissing. So I panicked. I knew immediately what happened. Once I heard that hissing, I ran downstairs, and the guy's like, "Oh, do you need help with anything?" I'm like, "No, don't worry about it." I go down there, dude. I walk in this guy's fucking garage. There's water pouring out of this guy's fucking ceiling. I'm like, shit. Run over to the furnace, shut the freaking water off, close all the valves. He comes downstairs. He's like, what's going on? I'm like, oh, just shut your furnace down. No big deal. And he looks in the freaking garage and he looks at me and he looks in the garage. He's like, did you hit a pipe? And I'm like, no, dude, your garage is like dirty. I figured I'd give it a bath. And he just stares at me. And I'm like, yeah, I had a fucking pipe. Long story short, I actually ended up calling my boss. And you know what my boss's reaction? Very, very different from your supervisor from what it sounds like. I called him and I was like, hey, hate to tell you, I just hit a water pipe. And he starts laughing and he goes, it's about time. And I'm like, what? And I worked here at this point for about 4 years. And he goes, every technician has always drilled something. He's like, I've been waiting for the day for you to do it, and you finally did it. So he wasn't even pissed. It was more of like a high five, way to go, you finally did it kind of thing.
And you didn't get a write-up for that?
Nope, not even a little.
Motherfucker, dude.
Dude.
I got wrote up for some of the dumbest shit. Like
this, let me tell you this one, because this one to me is one of the worst property damage ones. I've seen and I've heard plenty of horror stories. I know guys that set houses on fire. I know guys who fell through ceilings, flipped vans, done a lot. But one of the worst ones I will ever remember, it was up on the coast. I was actually at the neighbor's house helping a technician she had an install there. And I think I was either I had a schedule or I had nothing going on. So I was like, oh, I'll give her a hand and help her out. So we're going through the install and this contractor comes up to me. He's like, hey, are you from Comcast? And I'm wearing the shirt. And it was, another one of those moments. Nope. I just robbed the Comcast guy and decided to do his job for the day. And I'm like, yeah, I work for Comcast. What's up? And he goes, I need you to look at something. Can you come with me? And I was like, all right, as long as this guy is not trying to bring me in the back of his van, let's do this. And so
you'd have liked
it. We walk over to the neighbor's house, which was like, I don't know, a stone throw away. The contractor, come to find out, was building both houses. Well, the house that he brought me to was already finished, and somebody already purchased it and moved in. And they had Comcast come out to install services. Well, they had a underground going to the house, and it was just an open end pipe right there. They didn't have a plastic LB going into the house yet. They just had the pipe open ended. So, dude, I have such a hard time even repeating this story because it just makes me think how uneducated people are and how you could do something so stupid that can either kill you or kill somebody else or even burn down a house. The technician proceeded to run the underground and came out of the pipe. When they went to go to drill into the house, they realized, I don't know if you guys have these foundations up there or down there, flagstone foundations, like the big ass rocks.
I've never heard that. Yeah. I've seen those.
That's what they call them here. And it was an original foundation, but the foundation was probably about, I don't know, man, close to 1.5 feet thick. It was thick. And the way the sill sat, you couldn't drill into the house. You actually had to drill through that rock. Well, you worked for cable company. They don't supply you with shit like that. We're not masons. We're not, trenching these huge holes through these houses. It's not something traditionally you run into. The technician drilled a hole in the side of the LB going into the house for the 220 power.
Yeah.
They proceeded to take the cover off of the LB. And you know what I mean by LB, right? That little it looks like an L. It bangs into the house with the power, and it has that end cap you could take off. Usually the string's wrapped around it so you can pull the underground, and then you put it into the house through that little hole. Yeah. They literally put a hole in the side of that, took that off, and pushed the freaking coax through the power lines into the basement.
Yeah, that's just ignorant.
Dude, could you I went to school to be an electrician. Like, it makes me cringe to think that somebody put an active spinning drill on a piece of fucking flimsy plastic that holds 220 volts.
I would have, in that situation, I would have just said, "Hey, look, man, you're gonna have to get a contractor to pull you a feed line out here."
Well, and to
we
me,
we don't have the fucking tools to do this,
And you figured that would be, I mean, I guess A, for effort, but at the same time, it was just such a stupid, I don't know, to me. And that's not the first time I've seen it. I seen a coax line go straight through the conduit of the power feed going to the house. Like somebody drilled a perfect
I've seen that
hole.
too. But it's fucking ignorant, man. Like, you got, and I think it's funny you said that. I'll tell you a better one. The first thing they should teach you in training is not to fucking ground to the gas, right?
They did for us.
Well, I mean, that's something they go over, right? When you're in training, like as a tech, that should be something, a big thing. They should be like, there's a lot of gas meters on some of these houses because people use their stove or hot water or whatever is on gas. I went to this install, this service call, and it was all out, and it said on the, like, how you get the notes, the notes, like on the bottom, the people, like the dispatch people that take the fucking jobs. Yeah. They write like you a couple sentences, and it said, grounding issue, Stubbs' house has been burnt. Find alternate path to ground. That's what it said. Something like that in those words. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I get out there. The fucking thing was grounded to the fucking gas meter. Jesus. The whole side of their house, the whole side of their fucking house, I'm not kidding, was black. Their gas meter was laying over sideways. Like, they had power on, but the gas was turned off. The guy come out, he was fucking furious, right? This had happened like a week and a half prior to me being there. And he said that he's going to sue Comcast. Those motherfuckers should have never. He goes, I knew better than that, and I don't even do this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking to myself at the time, if you knew better, why the fuck didn't you just take it off?
Yeah, like, no shit, right?
That's what I'm thinking. But I remember going out there, it had a drop coming down. It fed a 4-way. You remember I said we used to be able to ground to splitters?
Yep.
Well, this was grounded to a 4-way, and the ground come down and was like one hole tacked down the wall, and then it was grounded with like a clamp to the fucking like one of those pipe clamps.
Yep.
To the fucking gas pipe, and that's the only time I've ever seen that be a problem, even though it's fucking obvious not to do it. But obviously what happened, I think, is like something happened where some current got on that cable, and where it went to ground, it hit that fucking gas meter, and it fucking popped. Yeah. Like, that's the only thing I could figure is it fucking popped, because the guy said that it made a loud ass noise, and then like the lights flickered, and he said he went outside, the fucking side of the house was on fire, and it was burning, and then you could see it too. It looked melted and shit. All the cable in the house was fucking melted. You could see it. Like, I pulled it out because there was only 3 outlets to this. It wasn't a big house. Like, I tied off, and what I did is I said, what I'll do is I'll replace these, and are you going to have this repaired and I can come back and activate everything? He's like, yeah, we'll do that. So that's what we did is we ran new cable to it. I ran a new drop, everything. The fucking stupid part is the fucking power meter was right next to the cable, to the fucking house box. And there was a number 6 going down that you could have ground to in like 2 inches, right? Like, it was the stupidest fucking thing to do, to ground all the way to the other side of the fucking, like, I don't know, 5 feet away to a fucking gas meter when there's a number 6 right there.
Yeah.
Like, and if that didn't work, you could have put it, like, they told us not to use clamps anyway, But in that scenario, if there wasn't a number 6, you could have put a clamp there and it would have been a lot safer. It was just something stupid that I'd never seen. Only other time I've seen that. But like, you would think that's like something they talk to you about, like your first fucking week or two in training. Do not ground to the fucking gas meter.
I don't know. I still feel I expect more out of people, I guess, than I think I should. I assume people know more than they do. So for me, something like that is extremely irritating because I would expect my 5-year-old to be like, hey, that's electricity. You probably shouldn't put that near gas, or some type of I don't know. To me, it's just common sense, but when people lack it, it hurts.
It was really stupid. What we ended up doing with that is I didn't even have to go under the crawl space or anything, because what I did is I just tied off to the 3 lines that were there.
Yep.
And I just pulled them back through, and then I took and I put them in loops in the house box, and I ran a drop, put it in a loop. I didn't connect anything. I just reran the cable. I completed the trouble call, and I put in a job to go back. Like, I think he said to wait 6 or 7 days. He gave me a date, and they put it back in. Then all I had to do was go back over there and just cut connectors and hook it all back up. But it was really an avoidable situation, to say the least. It was very avoidable. That number 6 come down, it would have taken 2 inches, put a fucking split bolt right there, you're good to go. It was the stupidest shit I'd ever seen in my life.
It almost sounds like what ended up happening was the cable was being used as the ground. I don't know. Do you guys ever had that problem down there?
Yeah. That actually, I didn't even finish that. It's funny you said that. That actually was what the issue started with.
Okay, I was gonna say, and that's what it seems like, because usually what will happen is that ground wire will go back and heat up.
The power wasn't grounded. I forgot about that. I'm glad you brought that up. The power wasn't grounded.
Yeah.
So yeah, it used the cable as the main ground, and it kind of fucked, and that's fucked too, because it's grounded to the fucking
gas line. So the one time that it should actually be done properly, and you almost need it to be done properly, it wasn't done right at all.
And if I remember right, that guy, he sued North Georgia Power and he sued Comcast, because North Georgia Power caused the problem, but again, Comcast could have prevented it from getting any worse.
Yeah.
But then they did their job wrong. And yeah, it was a fucked up deal. I remember them talking about that for like 3 or 4 months afterwards, like in meetings and stuff.
Again, that was something we actually came across quite a bit. And to me, you kind of knew based off of experience. You looked at the connections, you looked at the wire, you could tell if it was melted. You could see that ring around the bottom of the 6 connector. If that seemed to be kind of beveled in, you're like, all right, something hit this. I've had it where I've actually touched the ground block and it's hot, like to the touch. It's warm.
Yeah.
So did you guys have, so we had the FED. That was pretty much it. They never gave us any other type of device to put over the drop cable to verify that there was still no ground on it.
See, that's all I ever had it too. Like, I've seen other systems have those ground clamps that you can just put over them, and it'll tell you if there's any amps on it.
Really?
I never had one of I never had one of those. I've just seen it like different, like over the years on the Facebook pages,
Yep.
like people showing pictures of that stuff. I've never had one. All I had was a foreign voltage detector too. And to be honest with you, hell, this is going to make me sound really shitty, and I'm still alive. Thank God, knock on wood. You hear me knocking? But with that being said, man, like, after the battery died the first time, I never put a new one in it, and I worked there for years.
Yeah, I hate saying it's one of those things where you don't need it until it's hard to use it until you hear about something, and it usually has to be pretty close to home in order for a tech to use it, which sucks because and
that's a big deal too, because you could literally get on a pole that's energized. I mean, there's a lot of things that could happen to you there, but it is one of those things that's rarely used. It's kind of like your toner. Like, my toner would be dead for months on end until I fucking needed it. And then I'd be like, well, son of a bitch, I just use a drop amp.
Yeah.
You ever use a drop amp to tone something out? Yeah. I've done that a lot.
Yeah.
But, it is what it is. So starting up something else, man. Our trucks. You ever damaged a truck?
I don't know. Which one are we going to talk about? Yeah, I damaged quite a few.
You have?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, tell us about it.
The first time I ever damaged a van was I was pulling out of a customer's driveway and they had the railroad ties being used as a retaining wall. They probably had about 3 of the railroad ties stacked. And when I went to pull out of the driveway, I was going right. Well, that retaining wall was on the right side. When I ended up backing into the driveway, I ended up backing in from the left side. So when I went to go take that right, what ended up happening was I I literally turned right into that retaining wall, but my front tire was already past it. So when I started turning, I didn't hit the wall with my front bumper. I hit the wall with my side door and caved in both fucking doors completely. I fucking threw it in reverse, got super panicked, and I was like cocked halfway out in the road. So I'm like, fuck it. I'm just going to pull out into the side of the road. I'll pull over. I ended up pulling out on the road, driving down like 50 feet, and then banging a left on a side road. Got out of my van, walked around to the back of it to go to the side of it to see how much damage I did. I left both of my fucking rear doors wide open when I took off. So here's a fucking crazy Comcast kid driving around in a fucking van with 2 caved inside doors with both of his fucking doors in the back flapping in the wind. I fucking shut those doors, go to the fucking side door, fucking look at the goddamn thing, and I'm like, oh my fucking God. I caved this thing in so bad. I went back to the customer's house, knocked on the door, and I was like, hey, listen, I didn't do a lot of damage to her property. I think she had one of those little reflectors for the snow for the plow drivers, so they know there's a wall there. I think I broke one of those. That was it. She could have cared less. The worst part is, dude, I probably lit up her phone 30 times just to be like, hey, just an FYI, I hit your wall outside. She wouldn't answer the door. She wouldn't do anything. I'm like, you have to be fucking kidding me. I was like, all right, I'm just going to go back to the office, make sure, and then I'm just going to tell my boss what happened. So I get about halfway back to the office and I go, oh, fuck, my meter. And I know we've all been there. That fucking feeling when you don't know where your meter is just like, oh, shit. They always told us, get in an accident before you lose your meter. Dude, I fucking did both in less than an hour. I pulled over, I went to go grab my meter, and I couldn't fucking find it. So here I am losing my shit. I'm like, oh my God, I fucking drove off with 2 fucking back doors wide open. This freaking thing came off on, Route 1, and now somebody ran it over, and I'm going to be completely fucked. I was like, what's the odds? Maybe I left it in this lady's fucking basement. Dude, I tried calling her again. She would not pick up the phone. I lit that freaking phone number up for probably 2.5 hours. I went back to her house about 4 or 5 different times. Finally, she ended up picking up, and it was in the basement of her house. I think I just panicked because I fucking caved in the side of the van. I scurried to get out of there, not really thinking about it. But needless to say, I never told them about the meter. I just told them that I fucking got in the accident. And I don't even think I got written up for that. I think that was still like a verbal warning. I had to sign something, but
Dude, they were lenient as fuck on y'all, man. Like, listen to this shit. All right, this is a true story, and it's fucking crazy. I'm gonna tell you, there's weather hazards are real, man. Like when it's storming and fucking pouring down rain to where you can't see like a foot in front of you. It should be allowed that you can pull over long enough for it to clear out where you can see to drive. Because like when it gets real bad, especially in like tight traffic, you're liable to get in a wreck. And that's exactly what the fuck happened to me. There's this road. I was working up in Tennessee then, but this is a long time ago. And this is the only time I ever damaged a van. College Dale's an area that is kind of famous. Like, you ever heard of Little Debbie snacks?
have I heard of Little Debbie snacks?
Well, Little Debbie snacks, man, are made in like the main factory, like the family, like all of them is from Collegedale. And that's probably like, I don't know, from where I'm from, I don't know, 40 minutes or less, something like that. Well, anyway, that town, it's a 2-lane road all the way through that town, right? When you get off the interstate. It's like a 2-lane road, and it's real tight, right? And on both sides of the road are big fucking ditches, right? Like these big deep ditches. Well, I had a job up there one time in like a trailer park or something, and I hadn't. I think it's like the only time I ever went up there. I might have been there a time or two more, but I was driving back through this 2-lane road, and there was like a Mr. Zip. You ever heard of Mr. Zip? Little gas station, Mr. Zip. Well,
No.
that used to be a big thing down here. It was like a big chain, Mr. Zip. Well, there's like a little Mr. Zip gas station on this corner, and this guy like cuts me off in this fucking pouring ass rain. Okay, like to get into that gas station in this pouring ass rain. I can't see a fucking 5 feet in front of me, and I swerve not to hit him. And when I do, I flip my truck.
Jesus.
Because what happens was I'm turned and I have nowhere to turn to because of that big fucking ditch. So next thing I know, it didn't knock me out. It just scared the fuck out of me. The next thing I know, I'm upside down, hanging. Good thing I have my seatbelt on. I'm hanging in my seatbelt.
CATV Tech Talk tip number 2: wear your seatbelt.
Yeah, wear your motherfucking seatbelt. I'm hanging by my seatbelt like say I'm riding like a slingshot or something, like at a carnival. It was like a ride. Like I'm like just hanging there, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm so fucked. And I'm like, I'm so fucked. And I'm like hanging there upside down, and like all these people stop because they think I'm dead, right? Like I'm hanging there upside down, and this woman, I remember, she comes up and she like knocks on the window. Hey, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, but I can't get out.
And I ain't gonna make my fucking 4 to 6.
Yeah. And what happened? Like, yeah, I was heading to a job, and I upside down. That's funny. I was about to tell you this. I was texting my dispatcher upside down. I said, "You're gonna have to move this. I just flipped my truck. I'm calling my soup now." And I put my little, those fucked up phone things they give us. I threw it in the floorboard. I was like, it don't fucking matter now. And I was scared to unbuckle because if I did, my head was going to go down where the fucking gas pedal was. So I'm just kind of sitting there. Well, here comes this big jacked up dude. And he's like, hey, man, let me help you, dude. And he like literally almost picked me up and like put me on the road, which I was thankful for. And my boss called my actual phone. He's like, dude, what happened? I told him, and I was like, my truck's like literally upside down over here in this ditch down in Collegedale. He's like, oh, fuck, man. So they sent a tow truck. Well, the tow truck had to it took them like an hour and a half to get that thing out of there and not damage it, like beat it all to hell, right? And the rest of my time as a tech, I never got a new truck, right? A new van. After that happened, they said, yeah, we ain't giving that motherfucker a new one. But
maybe that's why I never got a new one. Oh, shit. Now everything makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, I never got a new one. And I would have better metrics than the motherfuckers getting these new trucks. And it would always piss me off. But mine, right at like the back, driver's side, back rear wheel, right, that little fender well right in front of it had a big ass, like dented in spot the whole time I worked there. And it came from where I flipped that truck. I sat out there for 3 hours between waiting on them to get there and getting it out, and then I just drove it to the shop.
Jesus
Christ.
That
was that. Yeah.
Now the real question is, Ford or Chevy?
It was actually a Chevrolet.
Fuck. I was hoping that was a point for the Fords.
It wouldn't even made a difference though. It could have been a fucking Pinto. The dude run me off the goddamn road.
Yeah, weather always seems to be a big factor. I remember I pulled up to do a disconnect when disconnects were still a thing. And I'm not going to lie, I kind of miss doing disconnects. I love disconnect routes. They were my absolute favorite.
They were gravy, man. Gravy.
It depended though. If I got them in like January, February, fuck that shit. But in the middle of July, I'll take it. But I remember going to one in February. It wasn't a disco route. It was just a regular it was just a regular disco. I don't think I had an 8 to 10, and they were always big on you trying to complete your first job of the day relatively early. So I was like, oh, fuck it. I'll actually go do a disconnect. Well, it was in a town called Chelmsford, and it was right near these little 4-H fairgrounds, and it's all these little dirt side roads. These used to be camps all by this little lake called Hart Pond, and I think it was like A Street or First Street, Second Street, something like that. And I remember I pulled up next to the pole, with the pole being up to the front left of my bumper. I throw it in park, and there was a car parked in front of the pole. And I'm kind of sitting there and I'm looking up at the thing going like, how the fuck am I going to climb this? It's early as fuck. It snowed the night before, so there was a nice light dusting on absolutely everything. Zero motivation. So I'm just staring at this pole, hoping it's going to disappear, which it doesn't disappear, but that thing starts moving. And I'm like, is the pole walking away from me? No, the van was fucking sliding down the hill I was parked on. I was in park. I had my van on. But like I said, we got a super light dusting of snow. Well, what ended up happening was that hill was a solid sheet of ice. Because it was dirt roads back there. They could never really get a plow to get a nice, clean sweep on the road. So it was always just packed down snow. So it was literally a solid sheet of ice. I ended up sliding down this thing. I put my truck, granted, it was already in park. I threw it in reverse. I hit my e-brake because it was slow motion as it was going. Nothing worked. I ended up actually hitting a Jeep and pushing the Jeep up over a snowbank. The guy happened to be visiting from out of state. I felt so bad because I think it was the week of Christmas, or it was just after Christmas. But same thing. I've never seen a tow truck driver use so many pulleys, because they had to try to back up my van out away from the Jeep without hitting it and causing more damage. Because if they were to just pull the van out, it would have ripped the whole side of it, the Jeep off. So they actually had to drag my truck back up the hill, then hook the front bumper to drag the truck sideways more towards the tow. It was a nightmare. I mean, granted, the guy was skilled with pulleys, but yeah, that, and granted, my truck was absolutely mint, but the guy's Jeep, on the other hand, had a, yeah, pretty sure the album was stuck in the front door. So
That's crazy, man.
yeah, it was fucked. And my van damage stories just go on and on and on and on. I could probably talk for days about just that alone.
Well, maybe you need to fucking go back to driving school.
Hey,
there, bro.
no, fuck you, because the only one that was really ever my fault was the retaining wall. The goddamn, I was in park, okay? Fuck anybody. The fucking truck was in park. My hands wasn't on the steering wheel. I was no way involved. Fuck that. But I had, and even dude, I was in New York and Long Island for Hurricane Sandy, and towards the end, we started trying to finish up the drops in teams, so just in pairs of two. And I'll never forget, I was following this guy from another office, from Mass as well, and we're back to back. And I don't know if I was up the guy's ass too much. Dude, this fucking guy throws his truck in reverse and he floors it. I have never seen anybody go in reverse so fucking fast in my entire life. He for some reason thought that I was way behind him. He thought that he took a left on a road and lost me. So he went to put it in reverse to go backwards to go to the road that he turned off of. Well, he had no idea that I was fucking behind him. I was probably only 5 feet behind him, but he hit me going like 35 miles an hour. I'm surprised he didn't fucking set off the airbags in either of our vans. He ended up fucking caving in his entire back bumper. Like his bumper was at a 45-degree angle, and the front of my truck, he caved in the front bumper of that. I was able to put a layup stick in there and fucking bend it back into place so nobody could tell. I think when I went back to when I came back, I went to my boss and I was like, hey, I think one of the power trucks backed up into my bumper. We didn't want to because just like you, if you do something like that, it's Comcast all the way around. They fucking pull you aside and drug test you. We were there on overtime. I mean, we were banking fucking money. So it was one of those things where if we told anybody we got in an accident, we would have lost overtime. So we kept our mouths shut, bent our fucking bumpers back as best as possible, and went on with our fucking day. And we never got caught for it.
That's crazy.
Yep. And again,
Yeah, man, I got so fucking screwed on write-ups for stupid shit, man. Like it just whatever. Fuck it. I don't. You know how you were a big whiny bitch through metrics? I'd be a whiny bitch about that. Let's move forward.
yep. All right. So now we know that we're absolutely going to do a segment on that just to hear Jesse be a whiny bitch for a change. Oh, no, wait. That happens all the time already. So, tool damage. You ever damage any tools?
Man, the only thing I can think of like big, massive, like, you know, like money or anything, it cost me anything or anything like that was I was on a pole. This was actually during that, I think I mentioned that we had dealt with a tornado down here.
Yep.
And I was on a pole and I was reading levels. And it was just, this was during that time, but I was just running a trouble call. And I went to unhook my meter. I was climbing down and I dropped the son of a bitch and it went in a damn water main. And I could not fucking get it out.
Jesus.
And I called my soup and I'm like, dude, I'm kind of fucked over here. He's like, and this is the way he sounded on the phone too. He's like, ah. And it was like that distinct like fucking, I don't know. It was like you send your son to college, right? And he's like making great grades, and then he knocks up the fucking house mom at the fucking sorority.
Hey, good for
That
him.
was like
good for him.
Yeah, good for him, man. But that was like, you can imagine with the dad.
Jesus, you're not just banging the sorority chicks. You're banging the fucking house mom. Like, high five.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Fuck.
But it was like, you know, if he calls his dad back at home and he's like, hey dad, you know, I kind of like yeah, man, like I fucked this girl's mom and she's pregnant, dude, so like I'm gonna have to drop out of school. I could just imagine that would be the reaction, would be like,
see, but you just need to be that resourceful father. I'd be like, no, you don't, because the mother of the child's already at school, so you just stay there with the fucking kid. I mean,
okay, you're like fucking missing the point here, dog. Like it's just the reaction would be like, fuck, you know, like that's what he sounded like on the phone too. He's like, fuck, like, and then he's like, how did you drop it? Like I said, well, it kind of just wasn't in my hands, and then it just wasn't in my hand.
All right, listen, dude, fucking Chuck dared me that I couldn't fucking juggle all three things on one foot on the top of the ladder while running the drop, and I proved that fucker wrong, but I lost a few things.
Damn, dude, that's like the greatest Southern like redneck shit I ever heard. Yeah, man, that's what happened, and I had like 5 more jobs that day that I did without a meter. So,
and that shit's hard, man. That shit.
I don't know how the fuck I did it.
Back in the day, I think it was harder than it was towards the end, because towards the end there were so many tools that we had that gave you levels that really didn't fucking matter if you had a meter or not. But
yeah, but back in the day, it was you were like running blind. That shit sucked. Other than that, the only thing I can think of is like I burn up some drills. Like I think everybody's burned up a drill or two. But
I was gonna say that's really the worst I've ever done was burned up a drill. We fucking had one. We were using it. It was a hammer drill, trying to go through a commercial business, and the fucking thing, it ended up catching, and it wasn't cordless, and the fucking thing just started spinning, and it didn't stop. Well, dude, this guy had like 100-foot fucking extension cord on this thing, and he was in a bucket doing this, and the fucking plug was only like 20 feet below him. Oh yeah, this whole fucking drill wrapped up this 100-foot fucking extension cord along the thing. So you fucking, dude, the supervisor pulls up, looks on the side of the building. You just have this hammer drill coming like 8-10 inches off of it with 100-foot fucking extension cord cable wrapped around it like a fucking giant bee's nest. It was, oh, dude, it was fucking fantastic. It was so funny.
Well, I'm just a dumbass when I came to burning mine up. You could take them to like the warehouse and they'll trade out for another one, you know.
Not us.
But well, that's what happened with us. We could just turn it in and get another one. But I was just a fucking idiot. Like I was drilling this hole in this old ass fucking house, and I was drilling it like in the farthest corner. and like the TV was like 6 feet away from that. But I was like, well, I'll get it. And he wanted me to put it for sure in the corner. Well, I was drilling and I didn't look under. I ain't going under the fucking house to look and see what's under there. So I'm just fucking drilling and drilling and drilling.
Oh my God, CATV Tech Talk. Don't fucking do what Jesse does. Fuck. Oh God.
CATV Tech Talk tip, whatever fucking number we're on. I'll just say this: nobody's belly crawling through shit to say, "Hey, there's a fucking block right there." I'll just come out. Fuck that shit. Anyway, I was drilling and I hit a block, and I'm like, "Well, I wonder what that is." And I just kept drilling.
Oh my God.
Kept drilling. And I was like, "Son of a bitch! It won't fucking go! It won't fucking go!" And then I just kept pushing and pushing and pushing, and then finally, like, I guess what's bad is, like, I don't think this was holding the house up or anything, but there was a block like 6 or 8 inches, like right under the floor, and like 3 of them right there, and it was like in the corner how like the foundation was built. And when I got under there, I fucking broke like a corner off that motherfucker. But
Jesus
when I did
Christ, you pull your fucking drill bit out and the goddamn tip was glowing red?
Oh, it was hot, yeah. But no, I burnt that drill up because it got to where it wouldn't even spin anymore. But other than that, I can't think I've damaged, other than breaking like a shit ton of glow rods over the years, which I think everybody has.
Glow rods, shovels. I mean, I've lost shit like you. When I was in New York, I fucking dropped a pair of crimpers in between 2 fences that were built on top of each other for some stupid reason. And yeah, there was there was a good, I don't know, maybe one 1/8 inch between the 2 fences, so it was just enough for the fucking crimpers to fall in between. There's no way. Yeah, but the worst fucking, now this wasn't me, but the worst tool damage I ever saw. I ended up pulling down this road where I worked in this town for probably 10 years. I've only pulled down that road one other time. Go to this house with a dead end road, go up to the customer's house, fucking find out I have to go up to the pole for something. Dude, I fucking throw my ladder up there and the fucking whole pole is all overgrown with pine trees. So I just start taking my cutters and I start cutting some of the tree away just to, so the shit's not in my fucking face while I'm sitting there. As I'm cutting this tree away, I notice something on the hard line. Dude, somebody fucking left their meter on the hard line. That thing had to be there. We found out it was like 5 years old. The guy that left it there, was, needless to say, wasn't with the company anymore. I don't know if it was because he lost his meter or not, but I sure as fuck found it. That thing had enough water in it to feed a family of 4 for a week. There's no way that thing was ever turning back on. It was bad.
You did take it with you, right?
Oh, of course I did. That was the greatest thing ever. I'm the guy who brought the fucking... That's like getting somebody who's stuck on an island for 5 years and bringing that shit home. You know how fucking goddamn dorky some of those people were? Like that coach, I thought he just fucking found his missing child from like 3 marriages back that he wasn't told about. Except he found that letter from his fucking wife who passed away, and then he finally met his daughter in the airport. That was the look he had on his face when he found this meter, or when he saw this meter.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's I. I never found a meter out in the field. I found a lot of tools and shit, but yeah, that's crazy.
Ooh, I have a nice Verizon butt set that I fucking found at a job.
I think the best thing I ever found at a job. This lady, I guess it was a repeat on like a contractor, and I feel bad for taking the guy's tool bag, but she says, "Hey, this guy that was here last week, he left this. Do you think you can get it to him?" And she handed me a bag, had brand new strippers, crimpers, cutters, fucking almost anything you need to do the job in this little tool bag. And I'm like, "I'll absolutely get it back to him, no problem, man." I just threw it in my fucking truck.
Yeah, but you know what that tells me is that fucking kid just started, got halfway through that job and went, "Fuck this," and you ended up having to go back to finish it, and you got his tools.
Yeah, like if he'd have known, or he'd have found out, or probably knew by the next job, if he probably quit after that fucking job.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He fucking probably walked off the job. If they look brand new and this was a week later, no cable technician can go a week without their tools unless you're really that shitty of a tech.
Yeah, it was cool though. I got brand new tools, and I just kind of had, which is good because I lost shit a lot. Like I left fucking crimpers under floors. One time I lost my fucking cell phone. This is no shit. I forgot about this. I lost my cell phone, and the only reason I got it back, it was in my pocket. And now this is when
Wait, you lost your phone and it was in your pocket?
no, it was in my pocket, and I was crawling, running lines, and I guess I forgot it was in my pocket. It was
Oh.
under the floor. All right. Now this is before like Facebook was on your phone and like all these apps and shit. It was just a like one of them slide phones, like early on.
Yeah, I know you're talking
And
like the
but the
chocolates.
coolest thing you could fucking do with it is like change the ringtone. Like you were cool if you changed your ringtone.
Remember fucking ring back tones when you'd call somebody and it'd play music?
Yeah, but if they do that, you're a douchebag. Just let's move on.
Hey, fuck
Yeah.
off.
Man, I had to call this girl. Like, I have nothing against Fleetwood Mac, but if I have to listen to Thunder Only Happens When It's Raining, if I have to hear that shit one more fucking time, I swear to God, it's killing me, dude. And the thing
CATV
is,
Tech Talk at gmail.com. Attention, Jesse. We are booking every other weekends, holidays, and extended stays for extra fees.
anyway, yeah, I'll play a concert, motherfuckers. But anyway,
Well, you're already fucking planning a goddamn Christmas Carol, so they're gonna fucking. Are we gonna have a CD out soon?
hey, dude, we might.
Smooth Tunes by Jesse.
No, man, I'm like Dr. Dre, and you're like Eminem. But anyway,
Yeah, you're right. You're the way more. No, I can't say that. That's nope. Anyways,
continuing. My phone was under this fucking dude's house, right? And I had like, I guess back then, like, I had my work phone too, and I guess I didn't realize it till like the end of the day. I was at home. I'm like, where the fuck is my phone?
yeah.
And I'm like freaking out. And I was like, I said, and this was like on a weekend. Like I was working overtime. I was like, well, I guess Monday I'll go get me another one. My work phone rings because I used to every now and then, like if somebody was having a little weird intermittent problem or something, I'd like leave them my work phone. I'd be like, let me know if this happens again, dude. We'll see what we can do for you. And it rang the next day, and he's like, "Are you? This is so and so. I forget his name, but he says, man, are you missing your phone? I said, yeah, actually I am. How did you know that? He said, because I keep hearing it hearing something singing under my floor. and
Oh, that's awesome.
and the best part is that my ringtone at the time was Crazy Bitch by Buckcherry. You ever heard that song?
Yep.
Where it's like, hey, you're crazy bitch, but you fuck so good. And it was like, he said, it just keeps playing all the time. And I was like, dude, I will be there ASAP to get it. So like, I actually had my son with me, and we drove over there, and I got crawled up under his floor, and sure enough, my phone was sitting right there in the middle of his crawl space.
Dude, it would have been the greatest thing if like he had his like 98-year-old grandmother over or 99-year-old grandmother for like her 100th birthday party, and like right before she blew out the candles, you called your phone and your crazy bitch was fucking
Yeah,
playing
dude,
in the background.
that was so awesome that he said that too. He's like, yeah, it keeps singing this crazy song, dude. Yeah. I was like, all right. He was trying to be proper about it, But
And
yeah.
his wife's probably going to work. Jenny, I swear to God, he's trying to tell me something.
Yeah, that's probably right, dude. It was crazy.
Oh fuck. That's awesome. Last but
Customers,
not
man.
least, customers doing damage. Customers doing damage to our shit, their shit, everybody's shit. I don't know. I've seen customers do some fucked up things between cut and drops and damaging equipment. And I actually had a guy deassemble a fucking Pace DVR to give it a paint job so it fit in with the rest of his stereo equipment.
That's the nerdiest, gayest, dumbest fucking shit I've ever heard.
I can have respect for it, but it looked like he fucking did it with a pack of Crayolas. It was terrible.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, like
The dumbest customer shit I ever dealt with. Now that would have been mild. We had an area, dude, that had like these ghetto apartments, like, and I'm not saying anything's wrong, dude. I've lived in apartments and whatnot, but like, you know, them really, really like the projects, like the ghetto apartments.
Yeah, the ones when you take the digital box out, you always drop it on the ground and see if roaches fall out first.
Yeah, man. And actually they're the ones I'm talking about are actually about 10 miles from me. They are so fucked up over there. Like, I mean, they're so bad that you would walk into the complex and people would be throwing lines out windows saying, "Hey man, hook this up, dog." I'd be like,
Jesus.
"God." But anyway, this one time I went over there and this guy had done an install and I had to repeat on it. And this woman, and you know she did it, okay? Because no cable tech's gonna do this, okay? You remember like the old tube TVs that like all that was on the back was just an RF connection?
Oh yeah, dude, I remember the TVs when it just had the two screw connections for the antennas.
Yeah, the little UHFs, yeah.
Yeah, and
No,
then
but
you had the adapter that would go on that to take the coax cable.
yeah, dude, I remember that too. Oh, we're old as fuck, but let's
Yeah,
not talk about it.
Jesus. No, nope.
But anyway, this bitch in this complex, and when I say bitch, she was a bitch.
Big
She
old
says,
bitch.
yeah, man, she was like white Aunt Jemima. Can I say that?
I don't know because everything these days are offensive. I'm sure we've already had fucking plenty of offensive things said, so I guess not.
Okay, well, I'll say this: she was the Caucasian version of Aunt Jemima. There is politically
Fucking
correct.
really? That was the part that you found racist out of that comment? That was the one fucking out of 2 words. No, 3.
Then what the fuck
I
else
don't
would
even
be
want
it?
to.
Aunt Jemima's fucking syrup, man.
She's brown syrup.
It's fucking syrup. Get the fuck over it. Anyway, moving on. She had fucking. I know she did this because nobody like as a tech, you're not gonna go up to the TV. You remember you hook up those DTAs and you'd have little pre-made jumpers that came with them.
Yep.
Nobody's gonna go up to the barrel in the back, and if it's like fucking loose, you're not gonna touch that thing, right? You're just not. You're gonna be like, you got a problem here. We probably can't hook to this. That's probably what you're gonna say. Because the first thing that's gonna happen if you hook it up there and it breaks off, you fucking just bought their TV, right? So I know this guy didn't do this. It was fucking like ripped out of the TV, and the whole back of the TV was like missing like the plastic black paneling and everything. It was just like ripped out. Like she grabbed it and just yanked on it. And
Jesus.
she's bitching, "How are you gonna fix my cable?" It's like, ma'am, I'm a cable tech, not a fucking TV repairman. She goes, "Well, I want to talk to your supervisor." And this is on a Sunday, okay? The Sunday supervisor was way up in Tennessee, and I had to sit there for an hour and a half for him to show up to come make some kind of note thing on it. I didn't do it and all this shit. And she was cussing us as we're leaving because we didn't go and buy her a new TV and bring it in.
Jesus
she was convinced
Christ.
that if she raised enough hell that we would go and buy her one and set it up for her because she had this shitty ass little TV. It was fucking ridiculous, man. It was so bad. And I had to sit there with this woman waiting on my supervisor. I still went out to my truck, smoked, watched shit on my phone, whatever. But it was fucking ridiculous. And it was all over. And I guarantee you this woman grabbed that fucking jumper and just yanked on it. But so they had to turn, you know how they have to do things. They have to turn it over to insurance, right? And the insurance sets up a claim and shit. Well, but that wasn't good enough, boy. She was cussing us, her big ass chasing us out. Good thing that we could walk 3 steps before she could walk 1. So we got away, but yeah, that was fucked up. Well, like another customer damage I had, man, that was pretty crazy. Was he did to himself. He fucked himself. This guy, and it was
that was the type of damage you did. Icky.
Damn, dude, come on. He went and he bought this house, okay, and he renovated the entire house. And he didn't, and it was sat like fucking 500 feet off the road. And he paid Comcast to build like 4 spans of cable out so he could have service where he lived at, where he bought this house. It wasn't even a big house. It was like a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, single story, small house. But he wired everything in the walls and then finished the ceilings and then finished where the hole was to the attic. And he put fucking looped 59 cable in the wall. So like there was 2 outlets in every room, and he wanted them all activated. But then when I hooked my meter to it, like there had to be a staple in 2 or 3 of them outlets, man, where he would, because he said he stapled them in the wall. They were all 59 cable, and it's fucking all got noise galore. Because like, I'm like, God damn, dude, why would you paid Comcast to literally fucking run you 3 spans out here from the main road? Why wouldn't you have just let us wire it for you? Like, I asked him that. I said, you really, really fucking screwed yourself here.
Dude,
He
I used
goes,
to give people fucking spools of wire. I'd be like, "Here, wire your house. Call me when you're done."
yeah, dude. I mean, they would have gave it to you too. That's the thing. If
Yeah,
you're in there,
absolutely.
you could go to the fucking office
Yep.
and they'll give you 1,000 feet of cable and won't even ask you. They'll be like, yeah, dude. But here's the thing. He said that he had hired an electrician to put in specific places in each room. He wanted an outlet, a cable jack, and a phone jack. Here, here, here. And what the dude did is I'm pretty sure he put them all through like one piece of like conduit or something. But he said that in the attic he wanted them stapled down tight. But then they fucking come back and took where the attic hole was and like finished it. It was just sheetrock. And I'm like, all right, man. So at this point, I can't connect you. And he was fucking pissed, right? I was like, I can't run cable in here. I can't refish these. There's no way in the attic, and even if I could, they're fucking stapled down in the wall. I'm sure because like you tug on them, and there's no give in it, right, at all.
Yeah.
So like to me, he just fucked himself. I don't know whatever happened to that. Like the only thing I could figure is he literally fucking cut a hole out, went up in the attic, and started like giving it hell. But at that point, like he fucked himself. I don't know if
Yeah.
somebody else went out and told him, hey, we could run them underneath. But he really like refinishing the whole house. Wouldn't it make sense to put fucking like, if nothing else, like at least leave the attic open and use decent coax? He kind of got fucked by the electrician, but that's his fault because he's a fucking dumbass.
Yeah, but you gotta remember too, people fucking pay these people to do this shit because they don't know what they're fucking doing. So it sucks when they pay that kind of money and have somebody run shit cable. And now you're showing up going, yep, you gotta do it now again. Pay somebody else to do it better with new stock. And that's like, that just sucks.
Well, he specifically told me that he told the electrician to staple everything nice and neat, which makes it even worse, right? Because you can't tie on and pull it, right?
Yeah.
Even if you could, and you can't even get to it because they fucking finished where the attic hole was.
Jesus.
So it was just fucked up, man. And he was madder than hell. I said, I can bring service to the side of your house, which I think I ended up doing that. I ran a line down the pole and I put a splice point there, like a ground block in a box, and then I buried it underground to the side of his house. And I did all the work for basically I terminated the drop. I think all they would have had to do is wire everything outside and then connect it. But
No.
I don't know whatever happened to that guy, but that was the dumbest customer fuck up I think I was ever part of.
The worst, absolute, most fucked up thing I've ever seen a customer do. This is actually a good one. I get a trouble call. I show up, and as I'm pulling up to where my GPS brings me, I'm already familiar with this road. It's a road that we use a lot to kind of travel on. And it starts opening up, and it's just this little gravel driveway, and you can tell all the trees around it were just cleared. I think what ended up happening was the guy inherited the property. There was a shit ton of pine trees on it, and I think lumber was going for a premium at the time. So I think he was just trying to make a buck. So he ripped all of the trees down, a good amount. So here I am trying to bring this little Econoline van up this freaking gravel shit road, which you're probably very much so used to those where you are. Up here,
Yeah.
I mean, the farther north you go, the more fucked up the roads get. But for the most part, most people's driveways are normal. So I finally made it up to this guy's house, which is probably 500 yards from the fucking street. I'm sitting here going, how the fuck is cable getting up to this place? Because as I'm driving up this dirt road or gravel road, there's obviously no I don't see any poles, and it's obviously the middle of the woods at the time, so there's no hard line, or there's no underground going through the middle of the woods, because there's no way they would ever do anything like that. It was way too far of a run. So I'm like, maybe the hard lines coming off of we've seen it sometimes come off the backside of the property through the woods from somebody on another street over. I go up, knock on the door, guy doesn't answer. I'm kind of like, walking around my van, looking at this guy's yard. The guy must have just rented an excavator and went absolutely batshit crazy. He fucking tried flattening shit out. He obviously had no idea what he was doing. So I'm just kind of walking around. I'm trying to call in the not home. The guy, I see him coming up the driveway. I see the rooster tail of dust coming up behind him. And as I'm telling dispatch, I'm like, never mind, he's rolling up. We're all set. I hang up the phone. And as I hang up the phone, I start to walk away and my foot fucking hits something. Dude, I look down. It's the fucking tap on the ground. And I'm like, what the fuck? Here comes the guy, and he's like, hey. And I'm like, hey. And he's being a super dick right out of the gate. Like, not like, hey, man, how's it going? Sorry, I wasn't here. It was kind of just like, hey, this is a fucking super inconvenience. Hurry up and fix my problem and get out of here. And I'm like, what seems to be going on? And he's like, my line to my house broke. And he fucking picks it up, and it looked like somebody, I mean, it looked like you put a 5,000-pound ball in the end of this thing and it snapped. I'm like, Jesus Christ, what happened? He goes, it got pulled. He's like, I was taking trees down and a tree hit it. I'm like, okay, guy, whatever. And so I fucking go back and I'm like, all right, well, do you know where the pedestal cover is for the tap? And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, well, your tap's right here. Your drop's broken right there. I said, was there a little green box that you took out, or that got ran over, or that wasn't existing? Like, a tap just doesn't come out of the ground. He goes, oh no, I put that there. Dude, this motherfucker pulled out 500 yards of poles and direct buried his fucking power in hardline going to his house. Not in conduit, direct fucking bury.
Well, that ain't gonna work.
Oh, well, no, shit worked. It was, everything fucking worked. That was the sad part.
His power was direct buried.
Dude, he fucking literally ripped the telephone poles out of the ground, cut the fucking top of them off, dug a ditch, dropped all the utilities in it, and filled it back in.
Wow. I never seen that. That's crazy.
That I called the plant guy and I was like, hey man, I'm like, I got a tap for you to fix. And he's like, okay. And I'm like, I don't know if you're gonna get a bucket truck to it. And you could just kind of hear like the defeat in his voice. Is like, what do you mean? I'm like, oh, you won't need it. You're all set. And he's like, oh, okay. He's like, what happened? I'm like, somebody buried our plant. And he just, wait, what? Yeah, our plant's buried and it's not supposed to be. He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, dude, somebody fucking took an excavator and just fucking buried our shit. What do you want? I don't know how other fucking way to say it. And he's like, oh my God, I'll be right there. Dude, like 5 of them showed up and they're all just standing there looking at it like, how fucking dumb do you have to be? I actually never found out what the outcome of that was. I really wish I did. I'm pretty sure that was right before I moved up north. But yeah, I've never, ever.
You would think that the power company would like sue that guy.
Well, that's what I mean. That's an epic, dude. That's fucked. You can't do it. Could you imagine some asshole, like even just a regular residential neighborhood, just poles going down and some douchebag being like, all right, I don't want these poles. I'm just going to cut them, dig a fucking huge ass trench in my front yard and bury it. Like you can't.
Yeah,
that's not okay.
Don't work that way.
No. I mean, A for effort, but F for fucktard. I don't know.
Yeah,
really.
that's some fucked up shit.
Yeah, like, I guess good for him for not fucking dying and burying 220.
That's just wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
But all right, man. Well, hey, sounds like we both fucked a lot of shit up.
Yeah, it's just hit or miss, man. The only major thing I think I ever did was, like I said, falling through that ceiling, which wasn't my fault,
I was
and
gonna say
really getting
hit or
running
miss.
off the
I feel like
road.
you had a lot more hits.
Yeah, it wasn't my fault. Like most of the shit that happened to me wasn't my fault. Now, granted, like busting block and shit, I did that, but the flipping the truck, that wasn't really my fault. But I always got write-ups for it. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, someday we'll talk about write-ups and getting in trouble and shit, and you'll hear me be like, "This is bullshit."
And I was gonna say I had plenty of those moments, but I just chose not to share any of them. Unfortunately, damage is a good one for me. I could probably do a couple of episodes on this part alone. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but
It depends, man. Yeah, it works.
all right, guys, it's getting late. It's time for us to get out of here. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to find us on Facebook, CATV Tech Talk. You can also email us at catvtechtalk@gmail.com. Look in the snow notes below. You can see the links to all of the podcasts. If you actually go to the Anchor website, you can leave us voice messages and hear yourself on here. Anything else, Jesse, that I'm missing?
Not that I can think of, man.
I feel like I should know by now we do this enough, and it's terrible every time.
Just like and subscribe, man, for future episodes.
Yeah, tell your friends. And if we suck hard, tell us why we suck.
Absolutely, yeah. We're up for good and bad criticism. That's how we're going to get better.
All right. We'll talk to you guys next time.
See ya.
Look. Like what you just heard? Then don't forget to click that subscribe button. Questions for the host or just want to say hello? You can email us at catvtechtalk@gmail.com or find us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/catvtechs. Thanks again for joining us, and don't forget, climbing, crawling, drilling, driving is just the beginning.